We can also see a case for situations where it is not market research based. So again, companies like us, we have got a good equity with our clients. We can go to them offering these solutions as well. So for example, we have got several retail clients. We have got retail durable chains. We have got garment chains. We have got jewelry chains. And we can just, they've got spikes in sales certain days. And they do tactical advertising. They don't do much of brand building. But tactical, what I mean is they do advertising which is today there's an offer, or walk in today, call now to get a 10% discount, and so on and so forth. Those are tactical ads. They're not really brand building ads. So we can see if there is a relationship between the day a tactical ad is released and a spike in the sale around this couple of days period, for example. We can actually see whether gold sales data from the retail jewelers is correlated with gold price, which is constantly up and down. And we know for a fact that people watch gold prices, especially if you have got a wedding coming up in the family, or that people who normally invest in gold. And they will tend to buy when gold seems to be on a downward trend, and so on and so forth. We can study children's academic performance history and link it to career success. It's the greatest way to motivate children to study hard. You know, if we can actually say a student who has consistently got 85% in 10th and 90% in plus 2 and 86% in graduation and whatever in MBA, and career-wise has done fairly well, and if there is a correlation, it's a great way to motivate children to study hard. Because it is difficult to tell youngsters that good marks don't mean you are practically knowledgeable or whatever, but they do mean that you're prepared to work hard, and that's what a company is looking for. Good marks only indicate that you're prepared to sacrifice some fun and games to study hard, and to that extent they are important. So we can forever prove it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is a dunces who do well in life. Fine. When I was having a bad time in MBA, I read that Abraham Lincoln was a bad student, Mahatma Gandhi was a bad student, I was a third. So which was pretty good, but then it's not a formula, right? Okay. Now the fourth one here is something which has got tremendous business potential in this era of digital marketing. What kind of ad configurations get the maximum click-throughs? It's got virtually unlimited business potential. So you've got ads which are this rectangular shape or the square shape, ads with a call for action, without a call for action, ad which has got some some action in it versus a still ad. There are so many million configurations possible when it comes to digital ads, and which ads seem to have a better click-through response rate is something which virtually every digital marketing agency should be interested in. We have done a couple of such projects as well in this area. There's likewise with press ads which have got a call for action, we call it. You release today and then a customer will call up and say, I want to inquire more over this product. What kind of ads tend to have the maximum number of sales related inquiry calls? We have actually done that analysis for Mahindra Holidays, right? And we have said that you need to advertise in so-and-so newspaper, in so-and-so space in the paper. We've actually been able to give them those kind of inputs. I'm sure companies can link absenteeism to output, can link output to profitability, so on and so forth using statistical analysis. I'm sure companies can link man time spent in meetings to long-term profitability. All of you are working, all of you know how much time we all waste in meetings, right? So nothing much gets done anyway, and we keep meeting and meeting and meeting, and so on and so forth. There are virtually tremendous number of possibilities that we can do statistical analysis, but there are some obstacles as well. I talked about factor analysis, which talks about underlying parameters that drive consumer choice about a brand. But the problem with Indian consumers is, I have decided Medimix is my soap. Medimix is good in lather, Medimix is good on the skin, Medimix is good for moisturizing, Medimix is cheap. I will attach every good quality to Medimix. Now, when I am not discriminating in the way I give answers, no analysis can help the marketer. So if the consumer chooses first and evaluates later, then no analysis can help, right? So 3-4 days ago, I was in a class of marketing students, and I was trying to understand, and there were these two bachelor boys staying in a hostel room, and they've got a refrigerator, second-hand refrigerator for themselves. They were saying, I was asking them, how satisfied are you with the refrigerator? I was trying to understand what parameters they use to evaluate a refrigerator's performance. So they said the refrigerator is not good because the door doesn't close properly, and because it takes too much time to cool and consumes too much power. So I said, how do you know it consumes too much power? They said, we don't know. And then I got them talking about what refrigerator they have at home. And they said, that's very good. And that also, they don't know how much how much power it consumes. That also, one of them, the door doesn't close properly. Now, why were they unhappy with this fridge and not that fridge? Because this is second hand, whereas that is first hand. So the only thing is, it is a second hand fridge, so it must be bad. Whereas that is a first hand fridge, so must be good. So all good qualities get associated with that. All bad qualities get associated with this. In this situation, if consumers think in this process, no analysis can work beyond a point, right? We have a very young girl who works in our office. She studied journalism, and she did an internship at the Hindu's office in Chennai. The Hindu is one traditional Tamil kind of organization. For people who are from Chennai, they will understand what I'm talking about. So they serve upma, idli at very, very subsidized rates in their canteen. Now this girl wouldn't eat there. She says the quality of food is bad. So we asked her, why is the quality of food bad? Upma is very bad. How much? It is 1 rupee. If it is 1 rupee, it has to be bad. That's her logic. So she's decided the quality and then attributed the parameters to it. And that becomes a problem to analysis. Segmentation. We have done extensive segmentation research for bullets. Okay, bullet, we have done extensive segmentation analysis. And all of us know what a bullet motorcycle is. Many of the men here, would have loved to drive a bullet at some point in time on a highway, right? And whether we actually did it or not is another matter. What kind of person will buy a bullet? This is what Royal Enfield wanted to know, right? So, some consulting firm did an analysis, and they came up with saying the bullet buyer is a guy who has got a big mush, okay? Is either a fancy, smart young man or a milkman, dudwala types, but both have a big mush. And the dudwala lives in the center of the city, but one of those, there's some word that they used. Not very posh, but in the center of the city, business areas kind of thing. And the young guy lives in very upscale areas. And then we were asked to validate this in a quantitative basis. We found that this bullet dream is uniquely individual. So there were people who are built like Schwarzenegger, who are like, hey, I want to drive a bullet. There were people who had nothing like that kind of build, who are like very, very ordinary people who want to drive a bullet. And the ordinary person says, if I drive the bullet, at least in my mind, I'm a macho guy. To hell with what the rest of the world thinks. And the Schwarzenegger guy says, I'm proving it fits in with the kind of guy I actually am. But the motivation is the same. They both want to drive a bullet. So you cannot segment the bullet buyer in physical demographics in any fashion. There are people who save up money to buy a bullet. There are people who get their dad to buy them a bullet. So there's no one demographic thing where you can segment a bullet buyer. The only thing we can find in common is they all like the sound. Boom, 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 boom sound. Everybody talks about it. When a bullet is behind you in the traffic signal, you can hear the sound. Today, bullet has lost its charm because there are so many other power bikes on the roads. But 10 years ago, it was a status statement of what kind of person you see yourself as. And that's about it, nothing more than that. Tandem is tandem bicycle. And this, I think, is a classic example of the danger of over-segmentation. So I have this friend of mine. He's a professor in a college. He's about 40, 41 today, right? He's got a couple of small kids and so on and so forth. He is a Tamil mama. I don't know how many of you understand that word and whatever it stands for. Right? Tambram mama. Tambram mama will be very traditional. Wherever he goes, he will have the forehead marks. Right? He will go to the temple for religious functions. He will wear a dhoti. He wouldn't be seen dead in a colorful lungi. He'll wear only the white dhoti, so on and so forth. He doesn't like his wife wearing jeans to the temple. Jeans are no for temple, dhoti is okay for temple, jeans are okay for Saturday, but jeans are not okay for office. There are a million and one rules that a typical Tambram mama lives by. Right? Tambram mama, if you're a Chennaiite, you normally know what the Tambram mama is. He is an object of caricature. The Tambram mama is an object of caricature in serials and cartoons, so on and so forth. But deep down, these are also people who have stood for a lot of quality over the years. They are the people who have driven education forward in the state and so on and so forth. There are many good things, many bad things like about anybody else. Now the problem with this man segmenting this man is, I would never have believed, but he does it. He goes for resort holidays where he and his wife go tandem bicycling down a hill. So Tambram mamas don't do dangerous things. They're very, very conservative. So that's why the segmentation model falls down, right? He goes car racing on ECR with his brother-in-law. Tambram mamas are always very responsible and societally conscious. They do not race on a public highway. So the segmentation model collapses in certain things, which is why we have to be careful about consumer segmentation says this, and that's what we are going to do. Right? So read it with caution, act on it with caution. It is not 100% accurate, is all I'm trying to stress. Third example is when I was, again back in IMRB, I used to handle something called the Television Audience Measurement Panel. So I was responsible for the reports going out every week. And I read in some UK article that they found that any two programs, they could calculate the duplication, the percentage of people who watch both those programs, duplication between the programs. There was a formula which could predict it. So I tested the same model with our own data, and I found that there is indeed such a duplication formula. And this was in the days of not so many TV channels. So you would assume that the English news viewer is very different from a very, very local Hindi or Tamil channel viewer in terms of profile. But the duplication percentage is the same between those two programs as between two English news programs. In other words, there is no viewer discrimination. The same set of consumers watch pretty much any kind of program. If that is the case, what discriminant analysis are we going to do and predict viewerships? So those are inherent challenges. They are real challenges which analysis alone cannot solve. It needs a broad understanding of what is happening. The other big problem in India is companies simply don't have data. So we went to one of our jewelers clients, retail clients, and we said we want to have your share spikes, sales spikes, and advertising release data. And they don't have advertising release data. They don't know when we released. They don't have bills. So what analysis will you do for them? They don't have data. The other problem is, and this is a huge problem with corporate India today, they do not get involved with what you're doing. Somebody comes to us with a marketing problem and they say, please do a research study. Now, I often start off a conversation by saying, okay, but your own data should actually answer, out of the 5 questions you have, should answer 3 questions. Can we have access to it? We'll answer it for you. They say, no. Our top management says, do a study. They don't want to look inwards for the answer. They don't want to spend the time. They don't want to get involved. They just want to do a study. Some activity is equal to action. It's the formula they're living by. Now, while that's good news for me because it gives me business, in the long run, it means people are not leveraging data at all. So there's a mindset block. There's a mindset block. There is an education block. So what we need to do is to develop case studies, 20, 30, 40 case studies, and go to them and say, listen, maybe you can do this. Maybe you can do this. Don't hesitate to do it. But at the end of the day, we are accountable for the quality of the data because we are being paid for it. So before it goes to our client, before it goes to any decision making, we must make sure that the data is clean.